Bradley Beal's emotional tribute to John Wall, end of an era for Washington's D.C. backcourt. The NBA took a moment this week to pay tribute to one of its most high-flying point guards of the past decade. John Wall officially retired from professional basketball on Tuesday in an emotional Instagram post that put an end to a career that was defining for a generation of the Washington Wizards and which leaves a lasting stamp on the league. But who better to articulate the bittersweetness of it all for the fans than the star who has accompanied Wall in the DC backcourt longer than anyone else, Bradley Beal. Me and the X-Men family https://t.co/jp8zdwwblue, Paul George, at YG_Tracy, November 30th, 2025, the world has continued to evolve, life has continued to change, Anthony wrote. Family 4L and one of the most solid, humble, and God-fearing men the game has ever seen. Thank you for taking me in open-armed, pushing me to be my best. There is no BB without Dub. Thank you, brother. Enjoy the next chapter. #DeekBackcourt. For Wizards fans, Beal's sentiment didn't just convey a note of well-wishing, it was the final stamp on Washington's indelible chapter, DC backcourt, that marked years of spotlight basketball for the city through much of the 2010s. The number 1 pick of the 2010 draft, Wall wasn't merely a franchise cornerstone, he was a culture setter. Blistering quick, preternaturally aware on the court and utterly competitive, he was one of the most entertaining point guards to play the game. Over 11 seasons, the 5-time All-Star averaged 18.7 points, 8.9 assists, 4.2 rebounds and 1.6 steals in 647 games. Wall's high point arrived during the 2016-17 season, when he turned in the best season of his career, 23.1 points and 10.7 assists per game, and a 7th-place finish in MVP voting. That year, the Wizards posted a 49-win season, their most since 1979, and reached the Eastern Conference semifinals. Wall's infamous game-winning 3 against the Boston Celtics in Game 6 of that playoff run remains a part of Washington sports lore. He faded with injuries, but the credentials aren't bad: one All-NBA team, an All-Defensive Team spot in 2015, and a reputation as one of the most physically imposing two-way guards of his era. When Beal entered the league in 2012, he not only got a teammate in Wall but a mentor and big brother. Together they were dubbed the DC backcourt, and formed one of the league's best guard tandems. Their chemistry, on the floor and off it, carried the Wizards to 4 playoff appearances, returning a long-struggling franchise to relevance. For 9 seasons, Wall and Washington Beal formed the backbone of Washington basketball. Wall's jet-propelled drives meshed with Beal's feathery perimeter jumpers, an attack pattern that made defenses choose their poison. They were not only teammates, they were brothers who went through the ecstasy of victory, the agony of defeat and the suffocating burden of expectation together. Now 32, Beal has forged his own legacy as a 3-time All-Star. He just arrived to the Los Angeles Clippers, following a buyout, after spending last season with the Phoenix Suns and rejoining coincidentally Wall's most recent NBA team. But his words this week indicated that while basketball may take him elsewhere, his link to Wall is unbreakable. There is no BB without Dub, Beal had to remind the world, not only how intertwined their careers still are. Wall's retirement isn't accompanied by a retirement party, though it comes with a touch of finality. But his emotional goodbye to Wizards fans on social media points to the end of a chapter not only for him but for an entire generation of Wizards fans who watched him and Beal light it up on the court. Beal's offering was a reflection of what made their collaboration so special: the brotherhood, the battles, the belief they helped create in a city that had pined for basketball relevance for so long. As Wall turns the page to life beyond basketball, his legacy as a game-changer remains. He lifted teammates, entranced fans, and provided a blueprint for what it is to be the guy who shoulders a franchise. The Beal era meant so much to Washington, and it wasn't just about stats or playoff runs, it was about identity. It was about a team that rediscovered its belief, a city that rallied around its stars and two young guards who grew into leaders side by side. And even in retirement, that legacy still resonates. As Beal's words found their way onto social media, fans were reminded of the alchemy those two guards made in the Verizon Center, now Capital One Arena. The DC backcourt is dead, but it will always be one of the most iconic pairings in Wizards history. As John Wall officially begins the next chapter in his life and career, it's up to us, the fans, to keep the memory of the DC backcourt alive. Tell us your favorite moments from John Wall and Bradley Beal, whether it was game winners, unbelievable assists, playoff wins or anything else. That hardly should be the case for the pride of Washington basketball. Because while many players retire, their legacies never can.